I'll just recall each proposition and leave it there. Only on the last three, I wish to make some submissions. So the first submission is that there are only, under the law as it stands today, there are only two methods by which the government or the RBI can demonetize currency. The first is the legislative method. The second is traced to Section 26 of the Act. Now, obviously, in the first method, the RBI does not apparently is not involved because it's a law made by Parliament. In the second method, RBI plays an important role. I have submitted to your Lordship's consideration as the first proposition that any in Section 26 must be read as some, and it will depend upon the context. According to me, the context is there is a plenary legislative power. There is nevertheless Section 26. And the third and most important context is on two occasions in the past, when they wanted to demonetize all series of a denomination, the government resorted to the legislative power. That has a bearing on the context of 26. Just as lawyers submit their interpretation of Section 26, just as courts will eventually interpret Section 26, the government of the day, on two occasions, felt that the way to demonetize all series of one denomination was a legislative method and not under Section 26. That, according to me, provides an important context which your Lordships will bear in mind, and therefore your Lordships may consider whether my submission that under Section 26 you cannot demonetize all series of one denomination is valid or not. Well, that any will always be contextual. Citation. Contextual is, my lord, held in 1996, Volume 8, Supreme Court Cases, 540. Any is always contextual. Paragraph 12. That is my first submission.
Yes.
I'm done in the rejoinder on that.
Yes.
The second submission is, if your Lordships are not inclined to read any in Section 26 as some, and that any in Section 26 will include all series of a denomination, then I submit that is a drastic power which must have some guideline. Well, the guidelines are usually found by the courts in either in the preamble or in the statement of objects and reasons or in other sections of the Act. My submission is on the second proposition is there is nothing in the preamble which will guide Section 26. There is nothing in the statement of objects and reasons which will guide 26. And I do not find, nor was any section of the Act pointed out, which will throw light on the interpretation of Section 26. There is no other provision of the RBI Act which throws light on Section 26. Therefore, if Section 26 is interpreted, as my learned friends on the other side will say, to confer an absolute power to demonetize all series of any denomination, which naturally includes all denominations, that is a drastic power which ought not to be read in the 26. But if your Lordships are inclined to read, I say this section is unconstitutional. It contains no guidelines at all. That is my second proposition, and I'm done. The third, my lord, is the most important submission, which I will take 3-4 minutes to answer and rejoinder to what my learning was. Firstly, it is common ground now that all matters relating to currency is vested in the Reserve Bank. In fact, my Lord Justice Ramasubramanian's judgment at Internet categorically says all matters relating to currency are in the RBI. In fact, my learned friends did not dispute the point. If all matters relating to currency currency management, issue of currency, etc., is to be vested in the RBI. Can the executive government advise the RBI to make a recommendation? That's the critical issue here. The affidavit clearly says government advised the RBI to make a recommendation. Kindly see, Miller, in the RBI Act, they take over. Just look at the preamble. The first paragraph. And generally operate the currency and credit system of the country. And this was added as a monetary policy framework. And as far as currency is concerned, just kindly look at (22). The bank shall have the sole right to issue banknotes in India and may, for a period which shall be fixed by the central government, issue currency notes of the government of India supplied to it by the central government, and the provisions of this act applicable to banknotes shall apply to all currency notes of the government of India issued by the central government or by the bank in like manner, as if such currency notes were banknotes, and reference in this act to banknotes shall be construed accordingly. On and from the date on which this chapter comes into force, the central government shall not issue any currency notes. But earlier, the only 1 rupee note was issued by the government of India. It was signed by the Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs. All other notes are signed by the governor.
28A. 28A.
Yes. Now, by virtue of 22, when this chapter came into force, RBI may issue the currency notes supplied by the government of India, and then on that from date, the government shall not issue any currency notes. And I'm obliged to my lord, look at 28A. Issue of special bank notes and special 1 rupee notes in certain cases. I'm not reading the whole section. Therefore, central government has no power to issue currency notes. And anyway, 1 rupee notes are not being issued. Now I found that even 20 rupees a coin now. I saw a 20 rupee coin. Therefore,
only person who issued.
Yes.